Welcome back to Getting Worked. It's your boy Jared. I'm hanging out here with my boy Ian. And tonight, as part of our top 50 wrestlers of all time, according to AI, we're going to be doing a deep dive on the top 20, starting with our man Randy Orton. Randy Orton is obviously he's the Viper, right? He's a legend killer first, third generation wrestler. He is really one of those guys that you could put into any storyline and get a pop from the crowd. I mean,
and a 14-time champ, not 13.
14-time. Well, AI is not always 100% correct, but it's interesting, you know, some of the logic that they put in play here. I'm going to let it just play out. You'll see some of the different things that when we put in Randy Orton as a star, what they looked into, and some of it. So Ian actually put a lot of this together. So why don't you kind of talk a little bit about what the parameters were for this?
Yeah, sure. So again, we kind of went with 6 overall key factors to generate through AI. Those being championship, economic impact, legacy, their influence for like older ones, stuff like that. Ethical, moral clause. If there's something major happened and they in a bad way, from drugs, murder to anything in between, anything like that. And then a rationale for where they're ranked and why they're not higher. That's always the hardest thing. As soon as you see this list, somebody's sitting here right now, and if so, let us know in the comments.
So I was going to say,
annoyed that how could Randy Orton be only number 20 at the very end? If you're watching the video, I felt that Orton is one of this feels about right to me personally, as far as Orton. Because once you start getting much higher than this, and especially like the very next person we're going to talk about, you're starting to get into a different class. You'll see things sort of change. I'm not saying I agree with the next 20, 21, 19. Yes, math, I can do that.
I think if, again, okay, so we're having AI look at this, right? So if we want to look at, in statistics and along the lines of this, where you have a computer looking at it, math is coming into play. You have what's called a standard deviation. I would say that this falls into a +2 to plus, so basically a 2 to 3. I agree with your just initial sense that, yeah, I think this is a good spot for him, considering the rest of the names, most of them. We're going to get into a couple where we're just going to be like, I don't know why they fit there, but Randy makes sense. I think that given and they put it as 13. He's a 14-time world champion, and it was what he has 10 WWE championships and 4 world heavyweight championships, plus he's had the Intercontinental belt, he's had the US title, he's had various runs in tag team combinations. He's been in the mix, and again,
he's been around for 20 years, and the time he wasn't early on, maybe with Evolution, he wasn't that guy yet. But since he became that guy where he was winning titles, he's always kind of hung around. Him kind of always being there.
Yeah,
like you can throw him in anything.
Exactly.
And
I think that's one thing to me when I think about, because I mean, we're talking about professional wrestling here, right? And so, the title is a tool for the plot, right? Now it's again a recognition of you being in that top running, being a top
to anybody
star, right? And getting there 14 times again is something like, no, you're in the mix, right?
Yeah.
And he's he's someone that you can bring in on a storyline where Cena's gone stupid and have
Exactly.
him go up against Cena in a title match. No workup, no like fog of war around how Randy Orton became a top contender. It's
Yeah.
just that
Just
he's Randy Orton. Here's John Cena. Put them in a
let's go.
match together for the title. Done. The other part here where it starts talking about again the economic impact, the merch sales. You know, you see those Viper shirts. You see that
All over.
it's in my veins. You see the voices and like here's the other trick too. They could just drop the instrumental, have Randy come out, the crowd
And it
will
was sing.
sing the lyrics for you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they cut the music. They're still
But they
going.
could they could just have they could have no words, have him come out with the music playing, and the crowd will take care of the rest.
They'll take care of the rest. Yeah, absolutely.
And
And
in,
that's why he's in the
on
top
a
20.
random run in.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And so
No.
yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense given how, and also again, you know, this revenue driven, let's say this is definitely within the ballpark, you know.
Easily.
And again, you talk about, well, maybe since 2020, since 24, I'm sorry, God, since 2004, this might be a little low.
Yeah, it might be
low.
Yeah.
But again, that just speaks to who we're talking about here, right?
Yeah.
I don't really track all the different, like kind of the different revenue metrics on the merch, but again, I see that number and it obviously doesn't shock me.
Ballparking.
But it's
So this one,
go ahead.
This one is all about legacy and influence. So we were talking about over 20, I mean, was he 23, 24 years now? He's been around for that long and relevant, and not just, he's not the guy that you bring in to, oh, hey, we saw him. All right. Not, the older guys that they were like, hey, we're glad to see you, but you can't do what you used to do.
So one thing about Randy came in right around that time where you had and I don't know how many people know about this, like probably like deep wrestling fans probably are aware of this, but you had that in those early 2000s, WWE had a developmental territory. It's called OVW. And it was managed by a name that a lot of people probably would recognize right now, a Mr. Jim Cornette. And Randy was coming in right around that time where you had John Cena, Brock Lesnar, and Batista, along with some other folks that didn't quite get the same shine as like the Basham brothers and various others. But you consider, given the kind of the short window that they really had to truly be that developmental territory for the WWE, that class that came out of that,
that's
2003, 2004, and in what 2003 is still supposed to be one of the best
era still. Oh yeah,
as far as the NBA. Like,
oh yeah,
it was a great time to be a sports fan or even a professional wrestling fan around that time, because you got to see a bunch of studs come out in that 2003, 2002, 2003, 2004 time frame.
It's like transition of the guard in two different sports.
Yeah.
Like the NBA for sure. Because 03, 04, that's Jordan was ending.
Yep.
The GOAT, the actual greatest player of all time. He was leaving.
You heard us.
Yeah, you heard what I said. The coming after him, of course, Bron was about to be drafted. He was drafted right in that time period. Kobe was in his prime.
Yep.
But the Laker dynasty was kind of headed down. So that was the NBA stuff. But over in wrestling, the Ortons and the Cenas and Batista,
Batista's and Brock
Brock Lesnar
Lesnar's.
were the rookies walking in, and the veterans, Taker, Kurt Angle was still big at the time. Triple H, Rock was
It was
either again
just
changing of the guard,
starting to
right?
get, yeah,
He
yeah.
was, I think he was
He was,
heading
he was,
out. He was probably out within I would know
yeah.
this. I
It
think.
was there again. He was like, again. We're talking about Orton.
Yeah.
Rock was still in that vein where, yeah, he could be fading out, but you could just drop him in at any time. I mean, you still
Rock
can
wasn't
to an
in the
extent, but especially then,
sure.
oh,
Oh
forget
yeah.
about it. You could just drop him in on any
Yeah, if he just wanted to.
storyline, and
But
everyone was going nuts.
but he wasn't the full-time guy anymore. He was
Was
crossover appeal, I
yeah,
was gonna say, let's wrap up with Orton. Crossover appeal, that was just talking about who outside of wrestling, like we're all wrestling fans. We know who Randy Orton is. But would your mom would they
it's
know who
so
he is? The
funny.
video games,
Funnily
TV shows.
enough, funny enough, I think that some of the TikTok videos where he's effectively doing RKOs on his family,
He might be more popular now.
that might actually make him a little bit more popular, a bit more of a known name than he was before, because those are hilarious. It also just kind of speaks to he obviously has a sense of humor about who he is, and deep down, like, his character's one thing, but Randy Orton as the man just seems like just this real kind of down to earth guy in that
now.
way. I
think he seems like that.
Well, fair
now.
enough.
He's like
fair
the
enough.
perfect example of, and then we grew up. You know what
Fair
I mean?
enough.
Like it was, yeah, because there was some stories early on with Orton. There was a bit of an entitlement issue and stuff like that. But again, and as we go to the next, I was gonna say, I think go to the
trying to
next
work our
part
way
of
to
this,
the next
and
one.
we'll wrap this up. So as much as I say, like, he has some stuff, it wasn't anything clean record. Like, the man isn't
ultimately, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's some other things that never really came out, like never really worked into anything, and nothing since.
Yeah. And you can tell, even with wrestlers behind the scenes, those are really the ones you pay attention to. You can be as popular as you want to be. If the wrestlers don't respect you behind the scenes,
oh, this
like,
guy's got, yeah.
Why he's not higher, longevity, he's at the very top. He hasn't crossed, but the biggest thing is he hadn't really crossed over to get that mainstream.
Hasn't gotten the crossover stuff,
push.
And I don't know if he'll really ever do that.
No.
He's a wrestler, but also, like longevity. Yeah, that's another one I kind of question the AI on, because again, I think part of it's because of just the injuries and the times that he was out and everything, and then compared to some of wrestlers that are still but I mean, if you look at it, he's 20 plus year veteran, currently has been very recently in the current era match storyline, the program.
Mm-hmm.
And again, not a big shock. No one's arguing that Randy Orton, especially against John Cena, doesn't deserve to be there, right? And here's the other trick too, to me, with that I don't think the AI may have the nuance to pull together here, is Randy has dealt with several different injuries and has obviously wrestled with them. He's had his time out.
Right.
So has everyone. But he's obviously put in the time,
played hurt. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Which has its own kind of back and forth in terms of, is that wise or not? But
sure.
Again, hey, if you can do 20 plus years with that,
he knows what he's gonna. Again, he's a third generation, right? I haven't
third generation,
third generation
wrestler.
So it's not like he doesn't know.
Two is just one last little thing
Yeah.
about him right now. You know, we talked about like the respect backstage and
Mhm.
given his longevity, which again, another reason why I kind of question the AI here a little bit, but um, it's not a one to one, but I get the sense that in a lot of ways he is filling that taker role
Now
behind the
the
scenes,
next.
you
Yeah.
know,
Oh yeah,
in the locker
absolutely.
room, and he's well, one, someone that you don't want to mess with in real life, you know, and then two, just being a respected person that has garnered respect in the locker room with the company itself. I get the sense that he's kind of fitting that spot with the guys and the gals. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
Right.
I think that also just deserves a little bit of recognition and respect too. That obviously I don't think the AI is there's no way they're going to really be able to like, really
No.
parse that
And,
out. You know?
and quite frankly, I tried to keep that was one of the things that I tried to keep out of the AI. I didn't want it to start looking up gossip, for lack of a better term,
What
especially
it'd
since
be
we're talking
good
about
at.
ethical and moral clause. You start getting into that backstage. There are different. Not all backstage quote incidents are equal to all other backstage
Sure,
incidents. You know what I mean?
sure.
Like, yeah, yeah. So I
Yep.
didn't want it to get into all of that and start bringing only factual. Okay, hey, they got charged with this, or they did X, Y, and Z. That type of a thing.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's tough. I think yeah, keeping it at a high level, just kind of looking at the record. But yeah, we'll
yeah.
have to see who number
So
19 is.
yeah, that was Randy. Who's next? Let's see.